Hello, my name is Andrew Bermudez, and I was the director for Johnny Thunder and the Wisdom of the Ancients. Sadly, my brother Daniel Bermudez, who played Johnny Thunder in the film, can't be here at the moment, and there are a couple other complications that I've been going through for some time, which is why I haven't been able to get to this until now. Even now, I'm working on a few things right now, but I have found time to be able to simultaneously take care of a task I've been needing to do and record this audio for this behind the scenes along with the production gallery. So as you'll see, the different sets that I particularly built for this movie, I will talk a little bit about the development of my latest animated film, Johnny Thunder and the Wisdom of the Ancients. So this film I started on back in, it was quite a while ago I started with the script. I want to say it was early 2010, I want to say. Yeah, that sounds about right. When I was working on Johnny Thunder 2, I was thinking, okay, the first Johnny Thunder movie, Johnny Thunder and the Secret of Marco Polo, did really well, and that's why I did the second movie. And I was taking a gamble. It's like, okay, so I'm guessing the second movie is going to do well too. So if it does well, I'll need to get ready for a third installment. So I was wondering what this third installment would be, and I was thinking through some ideas. Well, at one point I actually read Dan Brown's book, The Lost Symbol. Great book, by the way. I highly recommend it. And I came up and I was reading it, and then it talked about the hidden mysteries, and I thought, this could be a good idea for a Johnny Thunder movie. So I developed that idea into a script. Originally, I was actually going to integrate the Lego Dino Island Johnny Thunder sets into it. The problem was with that was it seemed like the dinosaurs and the hidden mysteries were competing with each other to try to steal the show. So, this isn't working out. I'm probably just going to have to save the dinosaurs and the whole Dino Island thing for its own movie. So, if you like the Dino Island sub-theme, sorry, but I will be doing it at some point, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so I was working on various different versions of this movie, and I thought, so throughout 2010, as I was starting to wrap up the second Johnny Thunder movie, I was already starting to think about what to do for this third Johnny Thunder film, and I was thinking, well, I haven't really done something that really goes around the world, so I was thinking, why don't I do something about that? Something that takes a character and we go around the world, and we go to different continents, we can explore different cultures. It could be a lot of fun. So I developed that one, and it changed quite a bit. I mean, it really changed as I developed it from, I'd say, early 2010 until, I want to say late 2010 was when I started. Was around the time I got to more finalized state for the film. So I changed a lot of things. And the nice thing about this film, though, is that it was written in sort of a more modular style, so I could very easily take a section, take it out, write a new section, and stick it in. It was really easy that way. But the idea for some other things, such as crossing over the Atlantis characters, because Lance Spears from Lego Atlantis is in the movie, that was actually one of the first things to come into the script, because around the time that I started writing Johnny Thunder 3, the Atlantis sets had come out, and they had proven really popular and had some really nice characters. So I thought it would be really cool if I had Sarah from the second Giant Thunder movie, Date Lance Spears. I know I haven't really dealt with romance in any of my movies before this one, so that was something new and interesting to delve in. Interesting note, Steven Sever was originally going to have his own girlfriend, but the producer said she was a really unnecessary character. At the time, I was grumbling to myself, producers can't live with them, can't live without them. Looking back now, though, I think that may have been a move for the best. So, moving on to the actual production of the film, the longest production period of any movie that I've made. It started November 2011 and ended July 2014. That is a long time. I'm not going to deny it. That is a very long time for developing a movie. So with that said, let me talk about a couple interesting things that happened over the course of the development of, over the course, I should say, of the filming of the movie. Well, part of the reason why it took so long, I'm going to be honest, is I was making a lot of other movies at the time, because you have to remember, back in 2011, some of the movies that I released before Giant Thunder 3 came out, like The Soccer Match, New Friends and Environmental Fable, A Friend of the Police, they hadn't even been conceived yet. So those movies were made in their entirety while the development of this movie was going on. So that's part of the reason why this film in particular took so long. Another reason was the original script was, I want to say, 130 pages. So I knew it was going to take a long time because in a Hollywood script, and this is actually the first Giant Thunder movie to use the more traditional looking Hollywood-ish script, yeah, one page equates to about 1 minute. So 130 pages, you can do the math. It's pretty easy. So it's pretty easy to denote that. I knew right away this was not going to be a short movie. Funny thing though is that when I went to edit it near the end of the post-production, it turned out to be a lot shorter than I anticipated. The finished movie is only 87 minutes. Who knew? Things happen. Anyway, so back to the development. So interesting things that happened in regards to like set building along the way. Here's a funny thing. For when I worked on the Stonehenge building the Stonehenge set, there's a couple fun facts about this. One, the Stonehenge set is a exact to-scale, minifigure scale replica of the original monument. Granted, the fence is closer to the monument than it is in real life, but the monument itself is to scale with the minifigure, so that's kind of cool. The problem with the set, though, was that it was, so if you look at Stonehenge, it's very circular looking, very, very circular, very soft forms on the rocks as they've been eroded down over the years. Lego bricks are very square. Everything's very square and set down like that. So I had to figure out a way to build the monoliths in such a way that they resemble the actual monument while trying to integrate into this square-like building system. So it took a while to take care of that, but I think it turned out well in the end. So looking at some other things, there were a couple other things. One thing interesting that happened was while we were filming, there was a major rewrite to the script. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this. Okay, in the original movie, just letting you know, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. In the original movie, in the Chamber of the Hidden Mysteries, Dr. Jim Carew was originally going to take the Stone of the Hidden Mysteries, use it to perform the ceremony of apotheosis, and kill himself. And then there was going to be a joke between Lord Sinister telling Patrick, "Hey, why don't you try?" With a little joke like that. And then Jim comes back to life. He kills Steven, Senor Palomar, Rudo as usual, becomes superhuman, flies through the portal, and then all the other characters there, so both the adventurers and the villains had to team up, go into the Netherworld, and then fight Jim Crew in all these like twisted versions of the locations from the first two movies. It was a fun idea, and when it was first cut out, I was kind of sad to see it go, to be perfectly honest, because it was like, this is my big ending. Because, I know that it was 15 minutes and that it was kind of beating around the bush. I think at one time I even said, why doesn't he just die? When the characters say that. I was initially sad to see it go, but looking back now, I think it was the right thing to do. Somehow I'm thinking it was the right thing to do. Partly because had it been left in, I don't think the movie would have been done on time. No, in all seriousness. The film kept on falling constantly behind schedule. And if they had left that in, I don't think the movie would have been released when it ended up being released. I think it probably would have ended up back in September or something like that. So again, producers may try to simplify some things, but at the same time, sometimes some of the things they do might be for the better. So there is that. So a couple other things, interesting things that happened on set. For the Australia sequence of the movie, when they go underwater, I actually used the same techniques that I developed in Wonders of Buoyancy for the swimming through the water effect. If you hadn't seen the behind the scenes video for that particular film, basically what it is I have the characters and the diving suits, and mounted in the middle of the set is a piece of glass, and I have the camera angled in such a way that you can't see the glass, or you can't see the camera reflect off the glass. And then basically I have Play-Doh. Use the Play-Doh to stick the minifigures to the glass, and then I shoot frames, and then I just move the characters each frame with it. I actually kind of adapted that technique from a tutorial from the Lego Studios Steven Spielberg Movie Maker set, where they had a similar effect with the safe falling, and I actually got that from there. Funny thing is, though, is part of the reason why I made Wonders of Buoyancy was just to test that technique, just to see if it'd work. So filming really took a long time for this movie. Partly, like I said, partly because of its length, partly because of my busy schedule, and partly because of all the other films that I was making at the same time. I'm not saying, do I regret making those other movies? No. Granted, if I hadn't, this movie may have been ready for its original July 18th release date, but in some respects, it's good that I think that I made those other movies, and with that set. But moving on, so let me talk about some of the other sets. So right here, this is the jungle chase. This is my, what you call, big boy, my big baby, you should say. This is my personal thing. Now, the swinging monkeys thing, that was not mine, just letting you know. But other than that, the rest of the sequence was all my own, and I don't know what it is. I have a personal connection with that particular scene in the movie. I don't know what it is. It's just exciting. It's also so funny. And in fact, one of my fans in the comments said that particular scene contains the best Patrick line yet. The one where he says this fight's really corny as they're going to the cornfield. Yeah, I know it's kind of cheesy, but I don't know what it is. I just love that. particular scene. It's my personal favorite in the whole movie. So, talking about some other things. Okay, again, for the secret entrance into the cave in Machu Picchu, again, just like in Secret Marco Polo with the Golden Dragon's chamber, this is an elevated set mainly because there's stairs going down. And there's also a couple other things too. This particular restaurant that you're looking at right now is the Koala Express. Interesting thing is, originally in the movie, it was actually supposed to be a real restaurant they can go to in Cairns, Australia. But we decided it'd be better if it was a made-up restaurant to make it funnier. So we came up with Koala Express as like a play off of Panda Express. And I actually went through, and I'm just I know this can also be seen in the concept art gallery, but I'm just going to throw this up right now just to show you the thought process. Here is the sketches I did for designing the Koala Express logo and also the restaurant. So I went through, and I went through a lot of the same processes that go into making a logo for a real restaurant, because I wanted this to feel authentic. I wanted it to feel like an actual restaurant that you could go to and you could eat at, and I wanted to create that. And also, there's something else important that I want to point out here. This is more about my personal philosophy than anything else, but this is just my personal view, and put in disclaimer here that says that this view is my own and does not reflect those of the affiliates of Mustache Maniacs Film Co., even though I am one of those affiliates. Okay, this is my personal take on aesthetics, is that if you create something that looks too perfect, too clean, too orderly, it loses interest. It becomes unnatural, if you will. So I actually applied this philosophy towards the Koala Express because I prefer something that looks nice, it looks clean, but it has some imperfections to it. It has that aging to it. It looks a little slightly worn, like there's like the stucco's cracking on a building, or the bricks are discolored on another building, or that bike is a little rusted. Things like that. That is just my personal philosophy. But I apply it towards the Koala Express in that if you look at the side of the building, you'll notice that even though the building's predominantly yellow, I threw in some tan bricks just to create that imperfection. This actually does appear at a couple other places in the movie too. Again, this is just my personal philosophy, and this is just an example of my philosophy at work in the movie. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so some other interesting notes from the movie. Here's another interesting note. This is the first film in the Giant Thunder saga to use its own soundtrack. You see, there was problems with the sourced music in the first two movies, so I thought, you know what, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm composing my own music. So I went, I have a software called Mixcraft. I've been working on music for my movie since 2012. With the first one I did was the re-release of Com 50 and 007. So with that, I decided to compose my own music for this movie, and I did it in about a week because I was really strapped for time when it came down to it near the end. But I got it done. There are some really good tracks, and I highly recommend it. This may sound like a bit of a plug, but you can go over to the Mustache Maniacs Film Co. Music YouTube channel, and you can listen to the whole soundtrack there. If you don't have the chance to get a copy of the soundtrack CD, which does exist, I'm running a contest where you can win it right now at the moment. but if you don't have the CD, you can go there and listen to the music. But okay, so back to the movie. This movie was really time consuming for me because, again, like I said, I had all this other stuff that I was working on at the time. I was also working on New Friends. I was also working on all the re-releases, all the contests. I was working on Friend of the Police, working on Late for the Soccer Match, Seth Masterson versus Shark Hoops. There was really a lot that I was working on over the course of this film's development. Like I said, again, that's probably part of the reason why this one took so long. But overall, I'd say I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. There are a couple things where I look at it, it's like, oh, I wish I could have done that differently. I think we all feel that way, but I think overall, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I mean, this thing, we really pounded down the script. There was a lot of stuff that was cut out. There was a lot of stuff that was changed because, like I said before, Lance Spears being in the movie, probably one of the few things that stayed the same throughout the entire course of the entire film's development. So, overall, it took like 3 years to film. Granted, it was on and off a bit, again, because of the other films being developed, but yeah, this film really took a long time. Again, like I said, I was working on a lot of things at the time, so with that said, anything else to talk about in regards to the film? Well, one thing that's interesting is something that actually changed, that was added later in the movie's development, but I haven't addressed yet, but it's still an important part of the movie, is the prologue, the part with Dr. Daniel Thunder's murder, because back when Secret of Marco Polo was released, there was notes saying that he says at some point you should have addressed that Johnny's father, Dr. Daniel Thunder, was murdered. And I thought to myself, well, I couldn't really at that point put it in the second movie because by then the second movie was already being written. It was pretty much finalized at that point, so I thought, how do I integrate this? So I decided to do a prologue with young Dr. Kilroy and basically show the murder of Daniel Thunder. I tweaked it up a little bit so that it integrated into the movie because otherwise it would have just felt tacked in, and I didn't want that. I didn't want this to feel tacked in. I wanted it to feel like, okay, this is an important part of the actual narrative. So I really strive to do that. But with that said, I think that's all I've got for talking about the movie right now. Again, I'm pretty busy, so I could talk a lot more about this movie. There was quite a bit that was done to the script in particular. Not as much exciting stuff happened on set this time around. Not like what happened with the first two movies where we had fortunately, no computers died on us. No animation was lost, luckily. No lines were lost, luckily. I guess you could say yay for Adobe because we switched over to all the Adobe software. But with that said, I think I'm just rambling now. I think it's safe to say that I can very easily stop here. So thank you for watching and checking out this production gallery and taking this little behind-the-scenes look at how Johnny Thunder 3 was created. And be sure to like, comment, rate, and and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the Mustache Makes Film Co. website, which the link of which can be found below in the description. And don't forget the Facebook page. If you have a Facebook account, you can like us there. We also have the wiki, the Google Plus page, so forth and so forth. So, thank you for watching, and see you next time.